Because his tail was made of metal rods, he would occasionally knock a cheerleader silly. So in 1980, the athletic department decided it was time for something a little cuter, a little more kid-friendly, and Cocky was born, making his introduction to the Gamecock faithful at the homecoming game against Cincinnati on October 18th of that year. But while today Cocky is a beloved figure, his debut was something less than pleasant. The plan was to have Cocky break out of a giant roost while the band played the chicken dance during halftime. Well, that was the plan. Unfortunately, the roost, built underneath the west stands at Williams-Brice, had one problem. It was made about 6 inches too tall and couldn't be moved out on the field. The fans looked on in anticipation. The band played and the announcer said, "Please welcome your new mascot, Cocky." And like in the movie The Sound of Music, with the introduction of the Von Trapp family, "Your mascot, Cocky." Cocky! But there was no Cocky. When Cocky finally appeared later in the game, many fans were disappointed that he wasn't as tough as Big Spur, and after hundreds of letters and phone calls to the USC Athletic Department, right before a nationally televised game at Georgia, it was decided that Big Spur would return for the remainder of the football season. But what to do with Cocky? Well, an assistant athletic director came up with the idea to add eyelashes and lipstick to the beak, and thus was born the nation's first women's basketball-only mascot, Super Chick. While she began to gain acceptance among the basketball fans, when baseball rolled around in the spring of 1981, Coach June Raines was approached and agreed to allow the mascot, Cocky, to roam the stands at Sarge Fry Field, and thus Cocky was reborn. After the Gamecocks won the baseball regional that May, the NCAA representative urged Coach Raines to bring Cocky to Omaha for the College World Series. With the exposure on a new cable network, the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, which we now know as ESPN, Cocky's popularity increased among all Gamecock fans, and he was named the official mascot for USC in the fall of 1981 and has remained a fan favorite ever since. In some ways, for me, becoming Cocky was kind of like, as far as Gump opined, my destiny. My grandfather, Dr. Foster M. Routh, was one of the university's first physicians and had his office literally right over here on Green Street. My grandmother, Zoe Routh, rented apartments to Carolina students for more than 60 years and was called by the local newspaper the matriarch of Green Street. My father, Bill Routh, was a 1948 graduate and editor of the Gamecock. All 5 of my siblings attended Carolina, and my mother, Shirley Routh, was from Sumter. You guessed it, the Gamecock City. Hi, Mama. Growing up selling peanuts at then Carolina Stadium, I dreamed of being on the field, scoring a touchdown or kicking the winning field goal. I just never imagined I'd be on the field wearing tights and fur. Being able to portray our fine feathered friend gave me the opportunity to discover I had talents to entertain sports crowds and led to a 25-year career performing around the world. Who would have thought that this character that began for me as a way to represent the university that I love would turn into a beloved icon that children across the state of South Carolina adore? To stand here 35 years later and be part of this great legacy and to be thought of as a little Cocky, well, that's a badge of honor I'm happy to wear, and I'm humbled to be a part of this dedication. And I'm proud that one of the things I started in 1982 is still a tradition today, wearing your Cocky feet at graduation. So on behalf of all of those of us fortunate enough to portray our fuzzy friend, I'd like to say thank you to the Board of Trustees, President Pastides, and everyone who contributed to or had any part in making this tribute to America's best mascot happen. Please join me and raise a toast to our beloved Cocky, forever to thee. Thank you, and go Gamecocks!